It's a bit nervous because it's a new start, it's a new environment.
I'm looking forward to learning new things.
The police and the army, or rather the police and army in Zimbabwe claim the criminals they are using army or police uniform to commit criminal acts. Zimbabwe has experienced looting and people are being attacked and abducted since violent protests started last week. The security cluster held a media briefing last night, and on the line we have SABC News correspondent Ephert Musekiwa for the latest. A very good morning to you, Ephert. How true are these allegations that people are using official uniforms to commit crimes?
Well, we heard it last night from the police national spokesperson, Commissioner Charity Charamba, that indeed there are some rogue, she described them as rogue elements, claiming that some of them are members of the defense forces who have deserted or who are retired, who are no longer in active service. So she was calling upon them to bring back the uniforms, and also anyone who's in possession of military or police uniform to surrender it to their nearest police station. Otherwise, if you are found in possession of police or military uniform, you will actually be arrested and be prosecuted. So I think this follows claims claims on social media that the police and the army are actually brutalizing citizens across the country, across most parts of Harare. So I think it is in their defense that they're claiming that some of these people are not necessarily military or police personnel that are doing some of these acts, but actually blaming it on criminals that they say they are the ones that are responsible.
I imagine this claim has not been able to be tested yet.
No, it hasn't been tested, but I think it's just a defense by the authorities to, for following accusations that have been made against them.
Another incredible admission that Mr. Charamba made was taking the responsibility in terms of government for the internet shutdown and blackout. How did he justify this?
Indeed, he did confirm that it was actually government's effort. In his claim, he said that it was a move that was taken in order to protect the citizens against the abuse that was being perpetrated or the abuse that was being used on social media, where hate, violence, and terrorism was being promoted through social media. So he said that it's actually a security measure, it's actually a security step in order to protect the innocent public. He made the admissions on the public broadcaster, SABC, while he's away in Russia with the president. But this is actually the first clear confirmation from government that they are behind the internet shutdown.
Did he say why government was only now coming back to communicate to the citizens of Zimbabwe as to what was happening?
He didn't indicate why, but he just indicated that it is a step that was taken by government so that they actually protect their citizens. But as to why he made the announcement now, he didn't elaborate on that.
Ephert, give us the complete gist of the briefing that Mr. Charamba gave.
Okay. There are two briefings that pretty much happened yesterday, or two pronouncements by government. The one by the presidential spokesperson, George Charamba, he made it in Russia, addressing the issue of the internet. But regarding the security of situation in the country, this was made by Ms. Charity Charamba, who's the national spokesperson for the defense. And they said he was accompanied by the Zimbabwe Defense Forces public relations officer, Colonel Overson Mugwisi, who both read a joint statement saying that the law will be applied to anyone who breaks the law during this week. And they also highlighted that they have information that there is a planned part 2 of the national shutdown, and they've warned people not to heed to such calls, or not to oblige to such claims that Zimbabwe should be shut down, and there should be another shutdown again starting tomorrow and Tuesday. So they said people should go back about their business because now security is guaranteed for them.
In his first address to the media for 2019, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, mentioned Zimbabwe as one of the areas of concern. Does the government recognize the problems that are currently going on in Zimbabwe as a big problem?
Well, the interesting part is that, the announcement that led to all this protests was made actually by the head of state, who then left the country and left his deputy in charge. We have not received any communication from the man who was left in charge, who is the vice president, Constantino Chiwenga. But what we have received are various statements and updates from ministers who are in charge of various portfolios. Interestingly, actually, yesterday, the transport minister announced that government is revising one of its parastatals, which used to run public transport in the cities, called the Zimbabwe United Passenger Company. And they have actually said it will start operations tomorrow and will be charging very low fares as compared to these private owned public transporters. So really, they're just trying to address issues as they come about, but really to say, really to get an authoritative statement as to how they've seen the reactions of the people. We haven't really received any communication from the Vice President.
Just to wrap up, Ephert, how's the week ahead looking for Zimbabwe?
Well, the security sector did indicate that there are calls for a second shutdown, which starts tomorrow. Whether people will heed to this call or not, it remains to be seen. The whole of last week, most businesses did not even open. They were waiting to see what will be the outcome. We are hoping that businesses will start normal operations on Monday, which is tomorrow. So now with this call and also with these warnings from the security, I think it is going to further force people, those that are cautious, to be actually extra cautious and not open businesses. So I think we can only start to tell how the week will progress by the events of tomorrow morning going into late afternoon tomorrow. Whether people will heed the call or people will return back to work, it still remains to be seen. I think everything hinges on how people will initially react to these calls by the civic society to continue with this national shutdown.
Have you been able to observe in terms of the availability of both fuel and produce in the retail sector?
Yes, yesterday I did move quite around. There is fuel that was available in most service stations, both petrol and diesel. There were quite a lot of deliveries at these service stations, and the fuel queues had actually grown smaller. They were actually shrinking. They were growing smaller. Regarding with the retail sector, actually government issued a warning for. It's interesting that every time something happens, government issues a warning, and they warned the general public that they should not panic buying because there are adequate supplies. But people, because fearing what are unsure of how the week is going to turn up, are buying a lot of supplies so that they do not run out in the event that this planned stay away does go ahead. But in the retail sector, there were some produce, but there was a lot of hoarding or a lot of buying by people in anticipation of another continued shutdown.
Ephert Musekiwa, thank you so much for that update. That was SABC News correspondent in Harare, Zimbabwe, Ephert Musekiwa. Let's take a break. We'll be back at the top of the hour.